Welcome to another QGIS Python tutorial. So we're just Python tutorial. You don't have to have QGIS to do this, but we're using QGIS today. Today we're going to talk about how to subset a raster. So basically we're clipping a raster. We're not going to do this with like a shapefile or polygon. We're just going to use a rectangular subset today. We're going to do that with GDAL. So I'm getting a new website up, the Open Source Options website. If you haven't been there recently, has a new look, and I'm moving all my courses over there. It's slow, but it's happening, so take a look at that if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and open up our Python console and the script editor, and we will start a new script. And so we're going to import GDAL. And let's just specify a file name here. Okay, and we'll call this our clipped raster. So we'll give that a file name. Okay, so we've got those two file names, our input file name, which is the same one I'm showing in the layers here, and our output file name, which is the one we're going to clip. Now, let's open our data set. So we've got gdal.open, and we're just going to open file name. And now we need to specify some things. We need to specify what size of a raster we want to create. So let's just take a look at our properties here and see how big this is as far as number of rows, number of columns. We've got 1065 and 1418. So let's just say we want to take about half of this raster. So let's call new rows is going to equal 700. And new calls is going to equal 500. And in case you've forgotten, this is our y coordinate. Oh, and this is our x coordinate. Okay. All right. And we're just going to take those from the top left corner. So what we're going to need to do is get the coordinates to the top left corner, which we can get from our Geo Transform. So we'll call our GOT equals ds.get Geo Transform. And let's just go ahead and print our Geo Transform once that pops up so we can talk about it. So I'm going to run this so we get the Geo Transform to print out. Okay, so you can see we've got a coordinate here, we've got a number here, 0, coordinate here, 0, number here, okay? So this is our top left x coordinate, this is cell width, top left y coordinate, and cell height, which is negative. Okay, good deal. So I want a raster, and my raster is going to have that same coordinate in the top left. It's going to have the same cell size, but it's going to have a different number of rows and columns. So we're going to need to create our new raster. So let's come down and let's do, we get our driver. Get driver by name, gtiff, and we need to do driver.create. And then we need to go in and fill in the create parameters to create that raster. Let's go over to the GDAL documentation just to make sure we get this right. So here's the GDAL documentation. If you ever get lost on how to do some of this stuff, come to this website here. The Raster API tutorial will tell you how to do this in C. C++, and in Python. And we're just going to come down and find the part that talks about creating. So that's reading. Okay, and here we are in creating. And that's metadata, create copy, using create. And here's how we do it in Python. We get our file name, X size, Y size, bands, and our data type. So that's easy enough. So we're going to create fn clip X size equals new calls, Y size equals new rows, and our type, let's just double check the parameter for that. It's E-type. So our E-type equals GDAL.gdt float 32. Let's throw a / enter in there so we get out a new line. Okay, so that will create our new file. So let's call this ds clip. It's going to equal this. And I forgot to put bands in here, so let's go bands equals 1. So that will create us a new raster. Now we need to figure the Geo Transform is going to be exactly the same. So we can do ds clip dot set Geo Transform GOT. Right, so this we're going to have the exact same top left corner and the exact same cell size, just a different number of rows and columns, which we have specified here. Okay, so that gives us our new raster. What we don't have in that raster is we don't have any data. And we're just going to copy this data over. So what we want is we're going to just call this data equals ds.getRasterBand, and then we're going to read as array. Okay, and then now we need to go ds clip.getRasterBand1.write array. And we're just going to take our array and it's a two-dimensional array, rows and columns. Okay, so the shape is a little different. So we want to go colon, so that means everything to new rows and everything to new calls. Okay, and so that will give us that raster, and then we want to go dsclip.getRasterBand1.setNoDataValue, and we're going to make it the same thing. We'll do ds.getRasterBand1.getNoDataValue. Okay, and now we can get rid of the print our Geo Transform. Now we want to close ds clip equals none, and we'll do iface.add raster layer fn clip, and that will add our raster to the QGIS interface. All right, let's go ahead. Let's click run here and see if we've made any errors. Okay, it's going to specify a coordinate system here. Because I just loaded that, I haven't specified it when I created my raster. It is in UTM zone 12 north, which is the same as the one I've already added in. So I'm going to say OK. And now let's change the symbology here so we can see it. We'll zoom in a little. And let's change this to like red or something. symbology, pseudo color. Let's just make this like reds. Okay. Boom. And there you go. Now you can see that we've clipped that raster out, kept everything the same. Now that's a pretty simple example. What if I want to cut something out kind of in the middle so that top left corner is not the same? Let's go ahead and work through that example now. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to remove this. And we'll label this example 1, top right corner stays the same. Okay. I'm just going to comment this stuff out here so that it doesn't get in our way, but we still have the code. Okay. Now let's go example 2, change top right corner. And actually, we going to leave this, we're going to uncomment that, we're going to keep all that code. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to have to change this Geo Transform. We're going to have to move that to where our corner is. I'm going to make this a little smaller. Let's make this like 500. We'll do a square one, 500 by 500. And let's come down. We're going to change the Geo Transforms. We need to change the X coordinate and the Y coordinate. And let's say that we want to shift this, our cell size is 10 meters. Let's say we want to move this like 5,000 meters in each direction. Okay. So let's call this our X offset. Let's make that 5,000, and our Y offset, let's make that, well, let's make that like 6,500. Just to make this a little different here. Now we got to make sure this is going to be okay, because that's, if we think about our cell size, it says that our cell size is 10, that's 500 cells. We have 500, or just over 1,000. Let's make this 250. Actually, 2,500, and let's make this 3,000. Okay, so that's going to be our offsets. We're going to move it over this way 2,500 meters and move it down this way 3,000 meters. Okay, and so here's how we can make those changes. So our Geo Transform, the first element in the Geo Transform is the X coordinate. Okay, and so that's going to equal GOT0, our existing X coordinate. And from that, we want to move it to the right. So we're going to add here. So we're going to add GOT1, which is the cell size, multiplied by our X offset. Okay. And GOT3, which is the Y coordinate, is going to equal GOT3, the Y coordinate, plus GOT5, which is the cell size of the Y, or the cell resolution in the Y direction, times our Y offset. Okay. Now we want to move this down, but remember this GOT5 is negative. And we'll print the Geo Transform out here again. Well, we have it right here still, so we can see it. So there's our X coordinate, X resolution, Y coordinate, Y resolution. Okay, so we're just going to set those up like that. And then we are going to do ds clip.set Geo Transform GOT, which we've just changed here. And then we're going to have to choose some different rows here, okay? So we're going to need a start row and a start column to do this. So now I want to get the coordinate of this new GOT. And actually we're going to make this something new so we have access to the old ones too. So we're going to go GOT new equals GOT, and let's just change all these to new here. So GOT new, and GOT new. Okay. So now our start row, remember we offset it by that many meters, is we need to get our column and row offsets so we know which row and column we're starting on now. So our start row is going to equal our Y offset divided by the absolute value of GOT 5, which is in the Y direction, okay? And absolute value to make sure we don't go the wrong direction here. If we get a negative number, it's going to really mess us up. And our X offset, or we'll start column our X offset divided by the absolute value of our Geo Transform number 1. Okay? So this is 0, this is our cell width. We're just adding rows and columns to our start location. Okay, so now when we get our data, we already got our data. Oh, we want our data right here, so let's copy this and move it down here. Right down here. So that's the data from the original raster band. We're going to go dsclip.get rasterband1.write array. And now we're going to write data. This time we're going to start at our start row, and we're going to go to start row plus Y, or not Y offset, sorry, come up here, plus new rows. Okay, and then comma to the backslash enter, start column to start column plus new columns. Okay, so that'll give us the number of columns from the start column, the number of rows from the start row. So let's go ahead and click run here and see if this works. We should get something closer to the middle. Let's click run. And we have an error. And let's see what line we're on here. Line 30. And it's because it's a tuple. Okay. So in Python, there are lists and tuples. Tuples, you're not able to change the values. And that is okay. We're going to convert that back to a list so we can make the changes. Okay, so let's convert this to a list. We'll do that with list. And then when we assign, we're going to change it back to a tuple, like this. Okay. And now, oh, I added one here without telling you about it. Let's add a round. Let's round our start row and start column. So let's do round start row, and we'll do round start call. These need to be integers, they can't be doubles. So by rounding, that'll give us an integer value. Okay, and so now let's go ahead and click run and see what we get. Okay, it got added. But it doesn't look like it's on top of there. Let's zoom to the layer. Oh, maybe it is there. Oh, zoom out. Okay, there it is. So we zoomed to that one. You can see that we got offset from there. So we messed something up in our Geo Transformation alteration there. This top left really got shifted from where that is. So let's go see if we can figure that out. I'm going to go ahead and remove this layer and we'll zoom back in here. I think I know what the problem is already, actually. Okay. Yep, okay. Okay. So we set these offsets, and we set these, let's just make a note here, meters, because we're using UTM. Okay. And here what I've done is this is the offset for the number of cells. So if I were to offset by 2,500 cells, that's what I want to do. Here I can actually just add that X offset there. I need to subtract the Y offset. We're moving from top to bottom, so that's a subtract for the Y offset. So let's go ahead and click Run here. Okay, we'll give it that coordinate system. And now if we click Zoom to Layer, yeah, you can see the outline there. So let's go ahead and change this to single band pseudo color, reds, okay. And there you have it. Oops. Now we've zoomed in on that. So there you go. That is how you can clip a raster to a rectangular subset without doing any kind of fancy processing, just using some very simple code. I showed you some errors that you can run into there, as you saw. So hopefully you can avoid those, and this will hopefully help you troubleshoot those if you do run into them. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. In our next video, I'll do the same thing, but we'll do it with the shapefile so you can cut to a polygon or an irregular shape. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any ideas, and don't forget to check out the Open Source Options website.